Welcome to the Sideline. I'm Andy Katz. Well, this is going to be a home for a lot of original content in college sports and beyond. Now, of course, you're going to get a lot of that similar content that I produce for NCAA platforms, Big Ten Network, and other places. But I needed a home for a lot of those interviews with the newsmakers in this space. So where are you going to find it? Right here at the Sideline. Let's get to it. And welcome everyone to an off-season chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Kevin Young, head coach at BYU. And look, Kevin, I've been covering BYU in some form or fashion, believe it or not, since 1990-91, when I was covering the WAC, the Reed brothers, and the Marriott Center was rocking, those old great Majerus, Reed rivalries, Utah, BYU. So I know how good BYU has been, can be, and is now. And it's just so great to see BYU back to what it really can be and should be. And they've had moments in between, obviously, but just what's it been like since you made this move over the last couple of years and made this move from the NBA to BYU, where the enthusiasm for this program, it just feels like it's almost at an all-time high.
Yeah, man, it's been amazing. Honestly, just the community, the fans. My family's loved it. My kids have had a blast with like you said, I mean, the everywhere we go, anywhere, it's all about, Cougar Nation, and it's been really fun. And to build on what we did, last year and all the excitement around our team for this year, it's just been a really fun time.
And the consistency, regardless of coach, for the most part, is BYU can score. They can get up and down. They can shoot the basketball. And that's been a sort of a common thread, different, obviously, tweaks along the way. But what is it about your imprint on this style, this era of BYU basketball that you think so far has been so successful?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, my background was in the NBA, and so everything that we've brought here has been with kind of an NBA imprint, I would say. From me to many of our staff members are people that have worked and could be working in the NBA right now, and so that has a trickle down effect to our player development, to our nutrition, to our strength and conditioning, to our style of play, to our scouting reports, practice. I mean, everything that we do is through that lens. And so that's been attractive to recruits, been attractive to families of recruits, advisors, and so forth. And then, we've seen some of the fruits of that, getting Yegor Demon to be the number 8 pick in the NBA draft here recently, which was a highlight, for me in my career, just being in the green room with him. That was incredible. And so that blueprint is something obviously we want to continue to grow. And then we feel like a byproduct of all that is going to be able to win basketball games, do it in a fashion that, young men want to play that style. And then obviously the fans have wrapped their arms around it as well. And so, it's been a win-win in a lot of different fronts. And now the challenge is to try to do it again and then do it again and do it again. And that's obviously what's great about sports is it's something that you got to stay diligent to be really good at.
There was a game a couple of years ago when BYU was playing Gonzaga, and Mark Pope just was like in awe of the Marriott Center. And I've seen it. For those that have not experienced it, what makes the Marriott Center arguably one of the best environments in college basketball?
Man, just the fans and the passion, honestly, like it's I where I sit on our bench, I look to my left and the student section goes up behind the visiting team's bench area, and it just feels like it goes on for miles. And it's just the rock, as they call it, just comes out in full force, and then it doesn't stop there. The whole arena is filled, and it's just the one thing I love about Utah in general and BYU is people actually understand basketball, right? So they know when to get excited in a part of a game, and they know when we as a team need a little extra boost, and that's when they kind of start turning it up. And so, they really are a big part of our home court advantage. And then this year in the tournament, the team was very well supported on the road. If we played in Denver, it felt like it was a home game. We were playing out in New Jersey. There was tons of blue there as well. And so that's something that's really unique about BYU is it doesn't just stop at the Marriott Center. You know, we have fans all over the country, all over the world, and it makes for really fun road trips as well.
Yeah, back when I was covering the WAC, I mean, anytime BYU certainly went to Vegas or Honolulu, I mean, uh, it was not a real road game. You know, Cougar Nation was everywhere. What's been like in the Big 12? I mean, you're talking about the tournament just now you were referencing, but what was it like in the Big 12?
Man, it was a bloodbath. You know, Coach Sampson said it best. It's not the toy poodle league. I think he referred to it as in that one post game interview. But yeah, it's a very physical league. Really good coaches, really good players. I think it feels like there's even more talent in the league this year coming up. It's very physical. You know, it's a man's league. It's an older league. And so I learned a lot. You know, it was a great, challenge for me jumping into such a high level of college basketball, having no real college experience, and it took us a while to figure things out. But it's a great league, man. Every night is there's no down nights, and that's something that I love. You know, in the NBA, you kind of go in these peaks and valleys, the stretches of the season, back to backs, and all this, and I love about the Big 12 is every single night, man, and you got to bring your best, and it really brings the best out, and your competitive juices get flowing like no other.
All right, before we talk about next season's team, um, you are one of a handful of coaches that now are going, this way, NBA to college. I mean, think about Mike Bibby now at Sac State, Luke at Florida State. This trend is happening, whether it's a head coach, an assistant, a GM. Why do you think the timing is right that NBA coaches are now looking to the college game?
Yeah, I think it's when I did it, for me there was a lot of just a personal um flavor into it with my family. We had some ties to Utah. I felt like it was a really good move. BYU is super unique, as we just mentioned, and so for me there was a lot of personal anecdotes behind it. I think on the whole, though, I think what you're seeing now is there is a lot of similarities between professional basketball and college basketball because of the way that the NIL used to be. It's funny, man. I'm barely a year in, and this thing's changed like three times on the
Yes.
NIL, right? And so I do think it's a lot different even now than it was when I first started. But there are so many similarities with NBA world, pro world, even probably even more now because it is essentially based on a salary cap, and so I think that's attractive to coaches and GMs alike.
All right, so let's spin forward. AJ Dybantsa, obviously, is the highest profile freshman entering the season. With Darren Peterson going to Kansas, so they'll both be in the Big 12, by the way. And he just won gold with the U19 in Switzerland. Went originally from Massachusetts, played at Utah Prep, heading to BYU. Before we talk about his game, what was the recruiting process like to get him?
Yeah, it was my kind of baptism by fire in a lot of ways. I was still in the NBA at the time, and him and his family were coming out to really his family were coming out to take a look at Utah Prep, and while we were in the playoffs, and so I got wind of that and came out to Utah, and they came through BYU as they were kind of taking a look at Utah Prep, and so was able to meet them there. I didn't even know who AJ was at the time. And his dad was showing me pictures of him and Kevin Durant working out. So I went back to the Suns and I asked KD about AJ. Oh, that's my guy. He's going to be really good. And so if Kevin Durant says that, it kind of piqued my interest. And his dad kind of was the kind of the forefront of the recruitment. And then once he kind of narrowed his list down, I was able to really start building up a relationship with AJ. And having him at Utah Prep was good because 3 hours or so from us, so I get down there and see him, and just built a genuine relationship with him, kind of based around the NBA, and that was kind of the common ground. And he's such a good kid, man. His parents have done a great job of raising him, and so it really felt really organic, honestly, the process of just getting to know each other. And he was able to come to a couple of our games and watch us play. I think he enjoyed our style and understanding how we could help put him in a position to do what he does best. And that was kind of the foundation of all of it.
So I saw Tommy Lloyd, head coach of Arizona, who just coached him to gold, was talking about not his stats, but what a great teammate he was on that team in the U.S. winning gold. Uh, for those, and then there are people that haven't seen him, how would you describe his game and his ability to affect the game, even if he's not scoring?
Yeah. I think now probably after that Olympic or excuse me, World Cup experience, maybe people view him a little differently. But, I think you look at, his highlights and he's dunking on people, he's crossing people over, he's hitting step backs and stuff like that. But I mean, he has a really great feel for the game, very unselfish, almost to a fault at times. He can really, really guard as well. I mean, there's not a whole lot he can't do on the court. And so that's, to Tommy's point, he really does like to uplift his teammates. He's smart. Like I was over there in Switzerland for the first couple games, and Koa Pete got going, and AJ's trying to find Koa, and he really understands how to win. He understands the game. He is a good teammate, and so he can impact the game in a lot of ways. And I think that's a sign of some of the greatest players that I've been able to coach.
So you know this in the NBA. This happens a lot where you have a star, and you have to, whether it's paying for that star or however it happens. And then sometimes the rotation guys or the next level, they're just not as good. And we, no offense to Rutgers, but we saw what happened last year where they had two stars, two top five picks, and they didn't make the tournament. So how do you feel about the rest of this group, of a group that you've got some key returnees that made the tournament and won and got to the Sweet 16, those pieces around a star like AJ?
Yeah, and I think that's something that is very underrated, even in the NBA, right? It's just look at OKC. I mean, Sam Presti and their group did a great job of building around Shea. It's not just talent acquisition, right? It's there's skill sets it all has to come together. And so once we got AJ committed, we really pushed pause on a lot of our recruitment and try to decide, okay, well, we have a really unique player. How can we best optimize this opportunity? And so we for the most part try to go out and get guys who are a little bit older, guys who are experienced, guys who can really knock down threes, can open the floor up, can space, can guard their man, and try to mix it all together. And then we went out and got, once Yegor decided to go to the NBA and Dallin Hall transferred, Rob Wright became available in the portal. We felt like adding him to help AJ and Richie Saunders, who's obviously, he doesn't get talked about nearly. I mean, this guy's first
He's an
team
all Big 12 player.
You know what I mean? Arguable All-American type talent
Yeah.
in the NBA as well. And so that's the thing I think that's unique about our situation is AJ's not, this is not the AJ show. Like, and I say that with all due respect. He's got great players around him. He's got a great coaching staff of my assistant coaches that are really pouring into him. Got a whole university and community behind him. So he's not really walking into a pressure cooker by himself. He's got, like I said, an all-league player in Rich. He's got a starting center in Kay Bakeda. He's got one of the best point guards in the country. And there's a lot around him. We've also got several other guys that are returning from our team last year that played key minutes and key roles as well. And so I like the blend that we have. And I think that AJ is going to be able to take full advantage of all that stuff that's around him.
So we don't know how the NIL is going to, through this new, approval system. So I'm going to pause on that because I still don't know how that's going to work. But you're at a school where football and men's basketball obviously are the breadwinners, the two major sports. In this brief time, as we're talking here in July, what kind of sense are you getting with the rev share, with your sport and football?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be, competitive. We want BYU wants to be really good, and really all of our sports are good. BYU, or excuse me, football and basketball are the breadwinners, so to speak. And so it's an ongoing discussion, and I think strategic visions on how all that comes together. Tom Homo, our longtime AD, just retired. Brian Santiago's taken over. Him and I have a great relationship. He gets so many things done, and through his leadership and guidance, we're going to navigate this NIL space. But I feel like in short order, we've proven that we can compete with the best teams out there, and we certainly don't want to have any of that change relative to this new sort of governing body, or however you want to call it, the sports commission and the NAI, the rev share. We're trying to figure it out just like everybody else is, but we want to obviously remain competitive in the recruiting space, and obviously have that bleed out onto the court as well.
And look, I say this, BYU fan base, donors, whatever, have deep pockets because there's just so many. I mean, there's just so many fans, which is a huge benefit, I think, for BYU, that you don't have to sort of keep tapping the same people, because you've got really an international fan base, which is pretty unique in this college space. Scheduling. I already, and educate me here. It feels like you guys are saying, look, we're going to be pretty good and we're going to take this show on the road. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big learning. I mean, every day I learned so much. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing coming into this. And so a lot of our schedule last year was already kind of done. And so, we decided that we studied what teams in our league did last year with the non-conference and the quad 1, 2 games and so forth. And so we needed to beef up our schedule. So one, we could be ready for Big 12 play, number one. Number two, we feel like we'll give ourselves a better chance to get, seated, a little bit better than we were last year. And so that was kind of the genesis of our scheduling philosophy. And obviously, once we got AJ, a lot of the phones were ringing pretty heavily with all of those powers that be that put games together and so forth. So, starting out in Vegas against Villanova, we're going on the road to, Madison Square Garden, to TD Garden to face,
Well,
I
TD
believe,
Guard is UConn.
yep, TD Garden's UConn.
MSG is.
I believe that's Clemson, I want to
Yep,
say.
yep, yep. Okay.
Yep. And then playing in the MTE down in Orlando. I think we'll play 2 out of the 3 of Georgetown, Miami, and Dayton. And then we've got Wisconsin at the Delta Center as well. And we've even our exhibition schedule. We're playing, Nebraska. We're playing Carolina, and so we've got a lot on the docket as it relates to the schedule, and I feel like it'll be a really good, test for our guys, and a challenge for our coaches as well. We're not going to be able to, dip our toe, and we're just jumping in the deep end right away, and I think sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Now, the Nebraska exhibition's on the road. Where's the Carolina one?
That's it. That's at the Delta Center in Utah. Yeah.
Last thing for you, because of your NBA background, um, and I know you have a big rival in Utah right there, but how can you take advantage, or how have you, with the NBA, essentially down the road in Salt Lake City, in terms of using that Delta Center as a venue to bring people that maybe don't want to go to Provo, but you can go to Salt Lake. What's your tie-in, at least with the NBA, with the program that you want to keep going?
I mean, for better or worse, I mean, it's my wheelhouse. So that's where all my relationships. I mean, I grew up in the NBA, so a lot of my friends. I mean, we were the grunts, and we have all sort of climbed the ranks. And so, I mean, I remember Austin Ainge, who's now running the Jazz. I mean, we were G League coaches, head coaches at the same time years ago, and so, and the list goes on, right? And so we have obviously there's a lot of guys at the Jazz in particular who are BYU alum, that support us, live
There's
down
another
here.
name there, Danny Ainge.
Yeah, Danny's a great friend of the program,
Yes,
obviously. Great resource for me. Obviously, Ryan Smith, who owns the Jazz.
right.
Uh, so many other teams, right? I mean, I was with the Suns for 4 years. I was with the Sixers for 7 years, and so it's more than just it's true friendships, right? And that's where a lot of that stuff comes. So we were able to practice at the Suns facility down there. We practiced at the Magic facility when we were on the road, and so. I like to give our guys an inside look of what life is like in the NBA, because everybody wants to get there. And, because of, my background, I feel like we can kind of give guys a look maybe they wouldn't get elsewhere. And I think that when we're at the green room with our guy getting, drafted eighth in the draft. And so that's just our blueprint, man. That's how we're trying to do it, just because that's the world that I once knew. And it's been really fun for me to kind of have my old world and my new world kind of merge. And that's been really rewarding for me personally.
Well, I'm not breaking news here, I think you can book and block your dates next June of 26. You'll be in Brooklyn. Buy the ticket as early as you can. But even before that, I got high hopes for this team from the outside. I think this is a team that definitely could be in Indianapolis in April of 26. A lot of work before that. But Kevin, I appreciate you and really look forward to how this all develops this season.
Andy, I appreciate you having me on and excited for the season as well, man.
Thanks for watching and listening, everyone. And as always, you can follow all our social media content at the Sideline with AK. Our content appears on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube, TikTok, X, and Instagram. Check out all the content at the Sideline with AK.